another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we have another awesome spotlight session with Beryl Krinsky from the Komplete Business Distance Dietetic Internship Program. All right, welcome to the podcast. To get us kicked off, Beryl, give us a nice introduction to you, your journey to RD, and how Komplete Business came to be.
Thank you so much, Erin, and we are so excited to be with you. Thank you for this opportunity. And I became a registered dietitian a really long time ago, and I jumped right into industry. I've been super passionate about helping consumers across the country live healthier. And through my first business, I really started to understand more about how to run a business and what's important when you're starting a business. And then I also learned about 6 years ago that there weren't a lot of dietetic internships that focused on business training and entrepreneurship in the internship. And I had this idea 6 years ago to start a business-focused dietetic internship. And in 2020, we got our accreditation from Ascend, and now we have the Komplete Business Dietetic Internship.
That is awesome. I'm excited to hear all about this, so I will let you get to your presentation.
Thank you. We're going to go through our prospective intern guide. And the first question you might ask yourself, why would I want to join the KBDI? Well, there are many different reasons. The number one reason is if you're interested in starting your own business, whether that's a private practice or becoming a consultant or even going into industry. We're going to give you all the steps and resources to make sure you can do that as soon as you're done with the internship. And we're going to teach you all about business. We also have an 8-week business rotation, and many of our interns spend this time working with registered dietitians that have a private practice or a group practice. We also have partnerships with industry, and some of our interns will rotate with food industry. We also have connections in corporate wellness and consulting and marketing, and really providing that dynamic and different experience for interns during their internships. And our interns will become leaders in nutrition, and our focus is on business and entrepreneurship. A few more reasons to join. We're going to teach you real business and entrepreneur training in the internship. And oftentimes when you're starting a business, you don't learn how to start a business and how to run a business and how to grow a business until you're in the business. But we're doing it in the internship so that when our interns graduate, they're ready and they're going to be able to launch or scale their businesses extremely quickly. We have exclusive experiences. We have connections with, as I mentioned, food industry, corporate wellness, interesting private practice registered dietitians, and people across the country that we'll connect our interns with. We have a lot of real world education. We are all about that practical experience and that practical education and getting everyone ready for what happens when you're in the real world. We have tremendous networking that we start right at orientation with our board. We have an outstanding board that they're located across the country. They're all registered dietitians in all different areas. Some of them work in clinical, some are academic, some are in business, some have private practice, some are consultants. It's across the board, and they're outstanding. And we also provide RD exam prep in the internship. That's part of our class days. That's part of our curriculum, part of the assignments that our interns do. And we recently awarded prior assessed learning. So if an applicant has already had work experience outside of school, they can apply for prior assessed learning and get 2 weeks off of the internship. And when I look at this, I don't think it's quick, but this is one slide to show applicants what they need to do to get admitted into the internship. The first step is to do, whether it's a bachelor's or a master's, from an Ascend accredited course of study. So that's the first step. And then when you go into DICUS and you start uploading all of the components, you need to upload either your DPD verification statement or that intent to complete, or if you are already done, that would be your official transcript. Make sure that you know the deadlines for DICUS. For spring, it's coming up fast, February 15th, I believe. You'll need to have your official transcript from colleges and universities that you've attended, 3 references in your application, and that can be from either professors or people that you've worked for or people that you volunteered with, and your video, which that's really important for our application. There's more information on our website about what you should put into your application video. And once you get all that in, then you'll move forward through the D&D matching. So it's a long process, and I would encourage applicants to start early, start months in advance, because it really does take a lot of time. This is our schedule. This is kind of a big picture schedule of how our internship is organized. Business is for 8 weeks. And I recommend within that 8 weeks to do at least 2 different rotations. Depending on what your interests are, you might want to rotate with a private practice registered dietitian, and then you might want to rotate with a consultant or maybe something in industry. Or if you know you want to do a private practice, you might pick 2 different private practice RDs to work with. Clinical is 11 weeks. That can be done at one facility, or it can be done at a few different, depending on availability. And you don't have to find a hospital if it's too difficult. You can do this at long-term care also. Anything that you can't fulfill in the actual clinical supervised practice, we will do during class days. Food service management is 7 weeks, and that will be a combination of retail and production, and also patient services. Community is 4 weeks. And then enrichment is something also a little different with our program. Enrichment is done at the very end of the internship, and the interns don't have to identify. In fact, we don't want them to identify what they're going to do for enrichment when they start the program, because enrichment is all about what you really fall in love with and what you're so interested in learning more. Or if you had a rotation, maybe it was a business or maybe clinical rotation, and you just loved it and you want to go back and you want to do a special project or learn something more or additional, that's what enrichment is there for. Business plans, that is something that is unique to our program. We have our interns create real life business plans following an identified business plan format. And this is to help not only the interns learn about creating a business plan, but it's to help the preceptors solve a problem or uncover a solution, because the preceptors are really busy. They don't have time necessarily to fix something if it's not completely broken, but the intern can work on that, create that business plan, drive that solution, and the preceptors will love it because it's going to help the department or the business, and the interns get that real experience. And the business plans are done at the end of clinical, 1 for food service, 1 for community, 1 for business. That will be done at the end of the 8 weeks. And then they will do their own final business plan at the end of the internship, and that will be for them. So that can be about their own business that they're either going to create or grow, whatever their heart desires. My advice for finding preceptors is to start early. You honestly need to start at least 6 months in advance of your application, because it takes a long time. And sometimes things happen, and one preceptor might not be able to host you, and you should have a backup. And it really takes a long time. When applicants apply to our internship, we will share a database that has a list of potential preceptors that they can start reaching out to. However, it's really important to, at the minimum, to have at least 1 clinical preceptor that you submit with your application. And you can see for food service and community, we're asking for 30 days before orientation to have these preceptors confirmed. Business preceptors, we don't require this before orientation, because we will be able to connect our interns with different business preceptors. If the intern already knows who they want to work with, that's completely fine. But we also can give you ideas and contacts. And then enrichment is February 28th. That's when you'd identify your enrichment rotation. Okay, site selection. As I mentioned, we can provide that list of potential sites and potential preceptors that the applicants can reach out to. It is the intern's responsibility to do this. However, Christy, the assistant director, and myself will help. We will help. And affiliation agreements are needed for any site that's more than 2 days. We have links, we have hyperlinks on our website where you can download the preceptor forms and the affiliation agreements, and you can email those to your preceptors so you can submit with your application. And we will make sure that our interns are filling the Ascend required competencies all along the way. But if we find that a site isn't helping fulfill the competencies, we might assign the intern to an additional site to make sure that he or she gets the competencies. And we can also do this during class days. If you're doing a special project that's a 2-day or fewer with a preceptor, that is when an affiliation agreement is not required. Okay, so our program costs and fees for the application, it's $75. The tuition is $12,000, and that can be done in installments if needed. For RD exam prep, our internship doesn't charge for this. However, if the interns want to purchase something supplemental, which generally is recommended, it can be $350 or more. Certain things like apps are going to be a lot less. So it really just depends on what you're going to need to study successfully and pass that exam. As far as textbooks, this is a range. Sometimes you'll have the textbooks already from school, so you don't have to purchase. But if you've been out of school for a while, or if you have maybe an older edition or something like that, then you would purchase the required textbooks. And we'll give you a list before orientation of the textbooks that you need to get. You will be getting student liability insurance, and I would recommend going through Mercer. They have pretty realistic, not too expensive insurance. Orientation, we're doing virtually, and I don't anticipate changing this even when COVID is done. We would absolutely extend the invitation for any intern that wants to come to our office to do orientation in person, but we're not going to require it. And I would be pretty confident to say that there would not be any type of travel cost with orientation. You will need to get an Academy of Nutrition student membership. Surf Safe training is something that you'll need to do before orientation, and the majority of our applicants already had Surf Safe training, so that wasn't an additional expense. Technology is variable. If you already have a laptop and you already have high-speed internet and you already have a printer and things like that, you wouldn't have to buy it again. But if you don't have things like that, then you would need everything I just explained for the internship. Transportation is going to be really variable too. A lot of our interns now, because of COVID, are doing a good percentage of their rotations remotely, so they don't have to travel. However, in the future, you might have to travel depending on where your rotations and your sites are. Professional attire also is very variable. The expectation is that you are dressed professionally for all internship, whether it's a class day or supervised practice, or even if you're working remotely, but you're doing meetings with your preceptor, the expectation is still to look professional. You will have to do a drug and immunization test. The internship will do your background test, so interns do not need to do that. And then uploading your official transcripts into DICUS, and then also the DICUS and the D&D fees. So it's a lot, but think of it like this. You are investing in your future. You're investing in saving yourself time in the future also, and you're going to get everything you need in this 9 to 10 month program to start a business and become a registered dietitian. Okay, so spring match is coming up fast. The first step is Christy and I will do the application screening. We'll go into DICUS. We will review everyone's application. We will watch everyone's video, which that's our favorite part. And then we'll reach out to the applicants that are qualified and we'll schedule your video interview. And that will be done in the spring. And then we'll rank the applicants. And then there will be a ranking in D&D. We'll find out who matches, and then it's your responsibility to let me know if you accept the internship spot. And that's how that works. It's kind of magical. And now I would love for some of our current interns to introduce themselves and they will tell you a little bit about themselves and why they chose our internship.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. So I have my master's in nutrition and my bachelor's in marketing. And when I was going through the DICAS process, I was working with a program called All Access Dietetics. And I was explaining to my coach how like I wish there was a program that just like really set you up for, just owning a private practice and giving you the structure, to really enter that entrepreneur world, with confidence. And a couple of days later, my coach emailed me and she was like, I think I found your dream program. And I immediately called Beryl that day and I spoke with her. Well, actually I emailed her and we made an appointment. We had a phone call. But after like just, talking to Beryl, listening to her and hearing about KBDI and reviewing their website, it was tailored for me 100%. I always wanted to go into private practice and be an entrepreneur. So the format of this program was just designed for me, it felt like. So I'm really excited to learn from Beryl and from Krinsky, like how to run a private practice successfully, how to partner with major wellness brands, because like that is a huge thing. Having a private practice is connecting with other nutrition brands and, trusting nutrition brands for your clients. And I'm looking forward to learning how to, contract with corporations and doctors' offices so I could better help clients and expand my reach through there. So I'm really excited for that and to learn. And then also like as a goal as a dietitian, I want to build a wellness coaching company that just helps empower clients through nutrition and like just really find ways to use food therapeutically to help prevent and manage their disease. Everyone nowadays has something wrong that can be helped with through the right diet. And I'm excited about this journey so I could be the best dietitian I can be and also, own a successful coaching company as a dietitian.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Amber. And Brittany is next.
Hi, my name is Brittany Rowe, and I'm also a KBDI intern. I graduated from the University of Georgia with my bachelor's in dietetics, and I currently live in Atlanta. I really wanted to select KBDI because it was focused on business. I don't think I've ever really resonated with a traditional dietetics path, but I knew I was extremely passionate about nutrition and how people interacted with that field. But after speaking with Beryl and the rest of the KBDI faculty, it was instantly clear to me that this was the program that was meant for me and that they were going to do pretty much everything they needed to do to make sure that we were going to be set for our long-term business goals. I am extremely excited to learn how to develop business plans because that's not something that most dietitians probably know how to do. And I cannot wait to be able to start my own business basically right out of the gate after the internship. And I want to start a private practice that focuses mainly on younger female athletes, but I also want to create a business that develops tools that helps bridge the gap between intuitive eating and sports nutrition.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Callie Austin, and I'm also a KBDI intern. I am from and currently living in Vacaville, California, and I graduated from the University of California, Davis with my bachelor's in clinical nutrition, and then I did my master's overseas at the University of Chester in England, and my degree is in public health nutrition. My background in terms of what I'm interested in is very similar to Amber and Brittany. I've never really wanted to go the traditional dietetics route, which is where when I was in my bachelor's program, it was always clinical dietetics, which makes sense because my degree is in clinical nutrition. But for me, it was more about, I need to get, this is the qualifying degree to get me to become a dietitian. Once I'm a dietitian, I'm going to take it my own way. I want to own a private practice. I want to own my own business. My passion is utilizing nutrition on the preventative side. I've never really wanted to work on the diagnostic side because I feel like that's just the main cure for anything in our country. And I think that we really need to focus on, what we can do to prevent things long term. So I got an email from my director at UC Davis last year and about this new internship. And I looked at it and I watched Beryl's YouTube video about the program, and I was like, this is like fate. This is what I need to do. I'm applying, number one choice, no doubt. So she just was full of energy, and just everything she said about this program, it was like it was made for me. Same thing as the other interns. So I'm super grateful, super happy to be part of it. And I'm really excited just to learn how to communicate nutrition in a way that anyone can understand, anyone can be passionate about it, and just make it part of their normal lifestyle. And I hope to open a successful private practice one day, and not only combine my nutrition knowledge and my expertise as a dietitian, but also I would like to become a personal trainer, combine the two, and be able to conduct consultations for people wanting to get healthier. So that's my plan.
Excellent. Thank you, Callie. And thank all of you for your introductions. And every time I hear all of our interns speak, my heart just gets so warm, and your enthusiasm inspires me. So thank you so much. All right, so the next steps for anyone that's interested in applying, the first step, and I encourage you, please review our website in detail. We have a lot of information on the website. And you'll also, when you're going through the website, you'll think of some questions, and that's when you're going to want to email me and schedule time, and we can do a video call even before you do your DICUS application. And then you'll need to complete minimum bachelor's degree, Ascend accredited program. Also, you can visit the Ascend website too and the Academy website, because there are a lot of tools and resources in how to apply for the dietetic internships. This is my email, so I would encourage you to, if you are pretty sure you want to apply, but maybe you have some questions or you just want a little bit of help in making sure your application is as good as it can be, send me an email and we'll schedule time to either do a call or a video call. And definitely follow us on social media, and that's a good way too to get connected before you even apply. And that's everything that we have to present for today.
All right, that was a lot of information, but good information. So I'm going to jump right into the 5 questions that I ask every program that comes on the podcast. And these questions were put together with the help of my students to make sure that I was asking the questions and getting the answers that they would really like to see from different programs. So my first one is, what is one thing in particular that you just really love to see when you're reading an applicant's personal statement?
The most important thing that I want to see, and I believe Chrissy would agree, in reading a personal statement is to feel that it's coming from the applicant's heart. It's not really so important of what they did. It's really important to show that they really care and that they're being authentic with whatever they're writing in their personal statement. So that's the most important. And the second part is for the applicant to explain why are they applying to the Complete Business Dietetic Internship. What part of the internship are they interested? Do they have that entrepreneurial spirit, or do they want to learn more about private practice, or what's drawing them to the program?
All right, I'm going to pass it to the interns. Was there anything that you wanted to share from your personal statements that you felt really helped seal the deal for you?
I mean, I guess to go along with what Beryl said, I am personally just someone who speaks straight from my heart. I naturally am just like very passionate about all the things that I'm doing right now. So that's my best advice is, care and then communicate how much you do care about what you're talking about. don't try to just put down on paper what you think a director wants to hear. Really speak from like where you are coming from and what you care about.
All right, I'll move on to the next question, which is a true or false question. Can't have a podcast with a professor without a true or false question. And that is true or false, an applicant's resume should always be one page and one page only. Either way, why?
Erin, you're not going to like my answer because I'm going to say something that I know other directors have not said the same answer. I think that resumes should be one page for about 5 to 6 years of experience, and then after that can start to extend to it, but it has to be a full 2 pages. Can't be 1 page and a third. I'm coming at it from a business perspective. From a business perspective, I want to see numbers. I want to see data. I want to see bullet points. I don't want to read. The personal statement is where you can expand upon, but the resume, when you're just starting in your career, 1 page. So that's just my opinion.
All right. And as someone who went to business school, I teach my students Harvard business format because it's one of the best to keep it to 1 page. And I've noticed that a lot of students are now realizing how they can get their stuff down to 1 page when you really are bullet pointing and being concise. So I think your tip for the amount of time of experience, I think really helps a lot of folks out because there's always those career changers that have a lot to say and don't want anything to be missed on their resume. All right. So what is one thing that an applicant may do, and this could be in the application itself, in the video, in interactions that you may have with them before they apply? What are one thing or a few things that an applicant may do that may raise some red flags where you may think this person might not be the best fit for this type of program?
The number one biggest red flag is not having any work or volunteer experience. And if an applicant has been focused so heavily on school that they don't have real work or volunteer, we're kind of looking at, we want work and volunteer, honestly. But if there's not much of anything, that's going to be a deal breaker. So we really need our applicants to have had at least a job, at least a volunteer opportunity, because we want to see people that are good at doing lots of different things. So not just focusing on school, but also having a part-time job or also volunteering or both or participating in a sport, something like that.
I know the program is still very, very new, but just from the jump, is there anything that you really want to keep working on to make an even better experience for the interns?
Oh, yes, always, always. So something that we're working on that we're really excited about is our partnership with graduate programs. And we always thought that it'd be great to partner with at least 1, if not 2 MBA programs. We've recently found a really exciting master's in leadership that we have a meeting next month to talk about a partnership. And that will be something that we offer. This will be a track. So we'll still have the non-master's track for people that have come in that already have a master's. But because the requirement starting in a few years, I think it's 2024, to be an RD, you have to have a master's. We will have that option for people coming in that don't have a master's. And we'll have a couple options, which I think is going to be really awesome. And then we're constantly working on securing new rotations for our interns. And so this is something that we started working on before the internship started, and we'll continue to work on this. And some of the companies that we had spoken to going back 2 years at this point were really excited, and then COVID hit, and then they weren't able to take interns during COVID. But we will definitely follow up when things are a little more normal to secure those innovative rotations for our interns.
All right. So my last question of the 5 is a 2-part question. And the first part is, what would be the 3 best adjectives, descriptors, or general phrases that you feel best describe your program?
Amber, Callie, Brittany, hopefully I don't put you on the spot too much, but could you all think, and I will chime in too, but can you think of some adjectives to describe the internship? Maybe like one each.
Unique.
Structured.
Intense.
Does anyone want to elaborate on their adjective?
Okay, so intense in the best way possible. I feel like you really have to have that kind of like hustler mentality to get through this program, because there's so much extra work that goes along with the dietetic aspect that you really have to like throw yourself into the program for it.
I do agree with Brittany. It is intense, but in the best way possible. It's very structured. And that's one of the reasons why I chose it. It gives you a breakdown of what to expect and what you need to do to get from point A to point B and to finish strong. I like knowing where to go. It's like the blueprint. So they're giving us the directions and the navigation that we need to get through this. And it's like, and they're there to help you too. And I love that. Like it's not like, all right, here you go. Like you're getting thrown in. It's all right, here is your map. This is what you got to do, but we're going to be here along the way to help you out in case you get a little lost or stuck. So that is so different than a lot of the programs that are out there that just kind of leave you to the wolves. And they don't leave you alone. Like I love it.
Definitely agree with Amber and Brittany. And in terms of, throwing the unique part in there, obviously we've touched on this a lot, but the fact that there are business rotations, I don't think I've ever seen an internship that includes business rotations. And I just find that great because even though, nutrition is our focus, we want these other learning experiences to be able to take that to the next level and really drive what we want to do. And then the other unique part is the fact that it's distance. I think that that's a big thing that people don't really talk too much about when they're talking about the dietetics route. It's a great option because you can stay local in your area, or you can, if you want to move somewhere else, you have the option. And I love the fact that Beryl and Krinsky are there to help us, but we also have the flexibility to choose our own rotations. So there's just so many different aspects that make this, fun, exciting, but also, gives us, like Amber was saying, that blueprint, those directions, specifically exactly what we need to cover in every single rotation. So there's no confusion. And if there's any questions, Beryl and Krinsky are so responsive and just everything. It's wonderful.
Thank you all. And I'll add two more, caring, because Krinsky, myself, Patty, and our board care so much about our interns and about our internship. We want everyone to succeed. We want to give everyone the tools to succeed. And we cannot wait to see what our interns do when they graduate. And so definitely caring. And I don't know if this is an adjective, but I'm going to just say it. The future. We are the future of dietetics.
Those were all really good, really good. All right, so the second half, very similar. 3 adjectives, descriptors, or phrases to describe your ideal applicant.
Okay, 3 adjectives for our ideal applicants. Number 1 would be good listening skills. We want to work with interns that possess that good listening. Sorry if that's not an adjective. The next is confident. We want applicants that you don't have to know all the answers and you can still be nervous. That's okay. But confident to know that you want this internship. You think you might want to do something business related. We're looking for that confidence. And motivated. We're looking for people that are motivated, just like the interns expressed. It's a lot of work. It's intense. You're doing all the dietetics competencies, and you're also doing business at the same time. So it's going to be intense. So we're looking for that motivated candidate, and we see that we can tell in the application oftentimes if someone's motivated.
All right. So I just have a couple of extra questions. I'm not sure if I missed this or not. So how many interns currently do you have? And did you max out what you're able to do?
Yes. So for our off-cycle fall match, we were accredited for 10 interns, and we have our full 10. We have our top 10, which is awesome. And then moving forward for our normal spring match, we're accredited for 20 interns, and I anticipate that we will have full classes.
With this first group of applicants, did you have any applicants, or do you have any current interns that have come into the program already owning a business that they'd like to expand upon?
Yes, in fact, we have someone here that already has a business. So Amber already has a business, and she already, as she said, she already has her master's. And I think Amber should really take that question.
Yeah, I had a business. I have. I LLC'd Naked Wellness in July of 2018 when I was finishing up my master's program, because I felt like I needed to do it now. One, the name wasn't taken, so that was one of the reasons behind it. So I was like, you know what? It's free. I got to take it and just start this LLC now. Otherwise, I'm going to lose the name. But I just I needed to professionalize what I was currently doing, because I'm also a personal trainer. So I wanted to be more professional to my clients and actually have an image and a brand around them, and something that they could be proud to be a part of. So that's why I ran with the LLC. And then just as time was going on, I was trying to figure out what it's like being a business owner. And, that's also one of the reasons why, picking KBDI, I only know so much. I don't know everything. And I still feel like I'm in that infancy part of being a business owner. And I know once I'm through this program and I graduate from KBDI, I will have a adult business. Hopefully my business will have grown and I would have the needed resources to make it bigger and, fulfill my vision that I have for it.
So with this new intern class so far, have you heard anything from them, or maybe some of the ones with us can comment? Is there enough flexibility to really manage part-time work or career or continuing of running the business? I'm getting a head shake. So is that not recommended to really focus on trying to work at the same time?
It's really not recommended. It's a full-time program. So it really is to simulate what it's going to be like when you have your own business. And as everyone knows, having a business is not a 40-hour week kind of thing. So the internship, the expectation is that they're going to be doing their normal 40 hours with their supervised practice, but then they're also going to be doing assignments, which some they might do during the supervised practice, but then some they might need to do at night or on the weekends. If there is flexibility, for example, with like if Amber has a coaching client that she meets with on Sunday, something like that, that's fine. That's no big deal. But having a part-time job and doing the internship is not possible.
So I had overheard the mention of the more virtual aspects of having to do supervised practice virtually. How are you going about evaluating if that experience is like meeting the competencies? Are you leaving it up to the intern to present to you that the plan will work even in a virtual format, or are they going into that with a plan for virtual?
Our curriculum is extremely detailed, and we really thought about, because COVID started before we got accreditation. So we really thought about what are the interns going to need to experience to fulfill all those competencies. And then within the curriculum have identified what can be done successfully virtually. Some of it, a lot of the clinical really can't be done virtually, but things like within community and food service and business, there are many aspects that can be successfully done virtually. And the reality is, like as we all know, this is what is happening right now. This is how businesses are run. This is how, telehealth is approved with all the major health insurances now, because it has to be virtual. So for the next, until COVID is a distant memory, we'll be doing what we can virtually. And then there are a lot of opportunities too to still do in person, and there just have to be some additional precautions and things like that followed.
So there's a definite plan to try to keep some of the virtual elements just so the interns are accustomed to that?
Yeah, so for example, some of the business rotations, there are good opportunities to do virtual because that's how, for example, a sales manager, her job is always virtual. And actually a dietitian with one of the food companies that we work with, he lives in Chicago, but his company is in California. So that's just normal. That's how they normally do their job. So working virtually is part of how some of us are going to be working normally moving forward. And they will still do check-ins every day with their preceptor, and they'll still be just like we're doing now, video and things like that. So it's not like, bye, go do the rotation. They'll be still working with their preceptor every day. And then within our curriculum, we have the specific resources, learning, and independent activities. And the interns will be doing self-evaluations, and the preceptors will be rating them and signing off on all the activities to make sure that everyone is meeting expectations.
All right, perfect. Well, that was all the questions that I had. So to close us out, we'll start with Beryl. I would love for each of you to just give a quick take-home message to potential applicants this year.
My message is to start as early as you can. Stay focused and believe in yourself.
I will definitely piggyback off of Beryl. Believe in yourself. Definitely, you have to believe in yourself because it is a hard journey. I just think you need to just envision yourself completing the program and taking that exam and passing the exam. Just envision it, and it's going to get you through the journey.
I agree definitely with both of them. And I would also say, through the DICAS process, just use any resources you have, have people check over your personal statements. If you still have contacts with anybody at your university, just do whatever you can. Look over it 100 times before you submit it, because this is going to be the key thing that gets you to your next step to becoming a dietitian. So that's what my recommendation would be. And then obviously if you're interested in business and related to nutrition, 100% recommend KBDI.
And my takeaway is definitely don't undersell yourself. You have way more to offer than you probably think you do have. And you're going to go a lot further by presenting yourself to directors and to applications as if, you are someone that deserves to be in their program, or that they deserve to have you, I guess, more so. Like you have more to offer than you really think you do.
And thank you all for joining me for this episode of Going All In. And for those at home, if you're interested in getting some more information about the KBDI program and getting in touch with Beryl, I've included the website link to their program in the description below this video. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode with another awesome dietetic internship. And we'll see you next time.